He can't be thinking about what's happened this year. It's what happens now. It's what happens in this best of 5.
And here we go. Reset on. Winner goes to World Finals. Loser has a whole year to think about what went wrong. And Vítor opens Goblin Giant.
And I really like Goblin Giant as a deck number 1 kind of deck. I know you know that your opponent, that's actually, I don't know. As long as you're placing it down, I'm always going to be a fan of that. I think Goblin Giant, Goblin Machine is just so strong. It's hard to know whether you should keep it or you use it early. And right there, really clean defense. I thought Viiper was going to lose 3 or 4 different ways, but instead, solid defense.
We'll give Vítor about a half elixir advantage as the first minute ticks away. And both players taking a moment here to breathe, reset. And Viiper goes ahead and gets an early rocket going. We've seen Viiper run rocket with miner, but this is an interesting configuration with this miner drill rocket.
Yeah, I've seen this drill quick cycle deck be used, but with the vines instead of the rocket. I do like the addition of the rocket. That way you get to keep vines for a later day. But right here, vines would be pretty important in this matchup. This is going to be just so tough to defend over and over again.
And the Rage, does he get that wall, that bomber off? And he does. Machine going to tower. And that's going to be a lot of damage from the Goblin Machine.
Yeah, beautiful recovery to even just save his tower. Gets the tower down to 1938. And a really nice snowball. Pushing the Furnace to the opposite lane. Doesn't want to have to deal with it. And misplaces, gets the wrong timing for the cannon, but going to be able to clean everything up with the Skelets.
And Rocket going to go ahead and try to support the bridge fight, but the Prince plus the minions raged up, and just so much elixir expended to still get some damage in and be down. So Viiper feeling the heat as he is way behind in both lanes.
Yeah, the Furnace has proven to be so difficult to stop. I like the idea of getting the rocket on top of the tower and the Furnace, but, you know, even when you get that going for you, you're still losing 2 elixir. These defensive rockets putting in work, but, I mean, it's just Prince Bridge. You can't stop the Prince Bridge.
And the Rage doing so much right now as well. One Goblin gets away, one critical stab. Does waste a Chef boost on a dying Goblin. And again, thinking about usage here as we are now into these Super Championship. Almost exclusively Viiper using the Princess for the tower. A little bit of Royal Chef, whereas Vítor has really mixed it up between the Princess, Cannoneer, and Chef. Go ahead.
Yeah, right there, misses the snowball. Left side going to be dangerous. Right side even more dangerous. Gets the tower down to 1203. Berserker putting in work, but that's another shot. Getting the tower down to 779, and Viiper just, he hasn't gone on offense for 3.5 minutes. It feels like he's just never had any sort of opportunity. Rocket coming down, misses the bar barrel, and I just don't know what you're supposed to do if you're Viiper.
Get ready for game 2. Yeah, so much on the board right now. Viiper trying to hold on, but now raged up Prince connects in the left-hand lane. Vítor just needs to not get horse to the barn syndrome here and recognize that he's got this thing all sewn up.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Viiper has been able to push this into a 4-minute, 50-second game is tremendous. Vítor going to take game number 1 after bringing himself to the bracket reset.
Laura in the lab trying to figure out what they're doing this time around, because last game, as you said, we saw some kind of suspect stuff going on, especially late game. So here we go, game number 2. And Vítor's turn to go drill Snowball. Little different look from what we just saw from Viiper. And as Viiper sets up with the Valk in the back. Ice Wiz, I haven't seen a ton of Ice Wiz. I'm trying to think of how much Ice Wiz we've seen at all today. But certainly not much. And Vítor playing with some pressure early. And Snowball will get a couple of stabs there. And that Fire Spirit might get a leap on tower, and it does. Huge Fire Spirit connection for Vítor as we pass the first 90 seconds, and he has opened up a huge lead. This is where you start getting worried for Viiper. This is where you start thinking, hey, you just lost a best of 5. Tight one at the end of game number of game 5. Then you just kind of got a big struggle situation in game number 1. And now here you are in game 2, having given up a big lead. Josh, looking at this one, we haven't seen a ton of Ice Wiz in this competition.
Yeah, and Ice Wiz really, it should do well against the meta. The problem is, in these best of 3s, there's just usually a better response, a better answer. Instead of the Ice Wiz, people are just swapping that for Furnace. And so when you have that opportunity for a card that's very similar and just kind of so much stronger, it does make sense why we haven't been seeing it. Right there, a rough giant Snowball. I really expected a lot of damage right there, but the Valk just gets kind of pushed into the Goblins.
Vítor with work to do on both sides, defends the Furnace on the left side with the Berserker right-hand side. A lot of splash to go to work here. Vines on offense, maybe trying to get some chip from the Valk. Berserker intercepts it just in time, and this right-hand tower just keeps on getting worked on.
Yeah, down to below 800 HP, almost below 700 HP, and Vítor just not having a problem. It's oh my goodness, and I don't mean to overreact, but these are massive things that Viiper is just missing right now.
And maybe a little early on the vines on Graveyard too, and you got to think Viiper appearing to be a little tilted.
Berserker gonna put in work on top of the Valk. Evo Furnace placed at the bridge, doesn't want to give poison value. But right there, again, the Goblin's going to work. That's game over. He's gonna be able to poison another shot from the Goblin.
Wow.
Vítor clapping it up for himself, and he has every right to. Fireball just counters Viper's decks.
I also wonder if RG Fireball might be the way Viper goes here, but I think a Lightning deck is most likely. And might be Hog here. Might be Hog in both directions. And Viper not responding to this Mighty Miner.
So I think Viper's probably using the RG Fireball. Vítor probably using the Royal Hogs. I would have liked to see Vítor activate King Tower. I was kind of surprised to see him block the E-Spirit with his own E-Spirit.
Pigs going to the left-hand side. A little damage on both towers now for Vítor. Firecracker, as I guess part of the RG deck here. And Evo Firecracker as well. Interesting choice of card to put in the Evo slot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what was used beforehand. Usually it was the Evo Wizard, so swapping it up. Well, usually it's the Evo Wizard and Evo RG, so now I'm starting to wonder if he's even running RG in general. And he is.
And he is. Here goes the slow. Firecracker gonna go and get a little chip damage here. And, you know, you think about the choice here for Firecracker, which I think this is also our first Firecracker of the day, maybe of the weekend. Haven't seen much in the way of Firecracker, but you think about the choice of Firecracker here, and you look at Vítor already using Barb Barrel, already using Snowball. Doesn't have Poison out there, so thinking maybe Arrows is unlikely.
Yeah, I do understand the science behind that deck pick, and I really like it. I think this is a pretty big opportunity for it to put in work in this game.
Into double elixir now, RG in front of the Evo Witch. Evo Cannon trying to hold a little bit. Log plus Skelly's mostly focused on the RG right now, then worry about the Witch later.
Good timing with the E-Spirit and the Mighty Miner. Going to allow the Miner to lock onto the Witch instead of anything else.
And this is a big question, right? Does Vítor have any real way to get at the Evo Firecracker when it's on the other side? Now the King Tower activation will come in. Not the most impactful of King Tower activations, but certainly still could be helpful here and there. But you gotta wonder, like, is Viiper gonna be able to abuse this Firecracker on his side of the board? So far the story seems to be yes.
So interesting that he's willing to cycle logs like that. He was super quick to figure that out as the method of choice, and right there, RG does get one shot. Vítor shaking his head, didn't want to allow that.
.30 seconds away from triple elixir. An RG shot and some Firecracker damage. Chip has been the big stuff so far for Viiper. Pigs go the opposite direction. Evo Witch going to work. Log to clear. Pigs will get some damage. The Mighty Miner should get onto the RG now with the work done by the Electro Spirit.
Firecracker just a centimeter away from locking onto the tower and getting some chip shots. Evo Baby Dragon to take out the Witch on the right side and going to get aggressive. So this RG should be stopped completely, and I believe so, especially with the help of the log.
Great damage from Vítor here, who got a good read on the situation that there wasn't really any good way to take care of the skeletons that were doing DPS on that Royal Giant. Viiper has 30 seconds to try to preserve his shot at World Finals.
Yeah, just shaking his head. It doesn't look like he has any option, any chance of getting it. I mean, just scratching his head right now. And this Baby Dragon, I mean, Vítor's got this.
RG in, and Viiper had no way to shut this down. Vítor knows it. Vítor knows it. So pumped up. And Vítor returns to World Finals for the 5th time in his career. He will see you in Atlanta.
Congratulations to Vítor. I mean, forcing the second set is so difficult. You know that you're going to have to win again. It's hard to get that through your head. He was able to do that, gets himself into the second set, and then 1, 2, 3. Nobody had gone 2-0 in any of these best-of-5 sets. He said, well, I'm not going to stop at 2-0. I'm going to go 3. And he is now our champion. Unbelievable. He's going to be our champion going to the World Finals.